What is going on, my fellow Jets fans? Welcome to the latest episode of the New York Jets State of Mind podcast. My name is Malcolm Harper, aka MHJetsFan83. You can follow me on X, Instagram, and YouTube at MHJetsFan83, which is one word, all lowercase. You can find my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. This episode will be posted on my YouTube channel at MHJetsFan83. Before I get to the latest Jets news, injuries, and previewing the Week 15 matchup, the second straight road game in Florida, this time against the Jacksonville Jaguars tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. If you could do me a huge favor and share this podcast along with my social media accounts with other Jets fans, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, hit the like, subscribe, and comment if you get an opportunity to do that. That would be awesome as well too, because I would love to hear you guys' feedback. With that said, let's get to the latest Jets news. Did y'all see the clip earlier this week, between Mark Gastineau and Brett Favre? I personally think that Brett Favre ended up laying down for Michael Strahan to break the sack record. Mark said, and this was his direct quote from the clip: when you fell down for him, I'm going to get my sack back. I was not old enough to watch the New York Sack Exchange. I was born in 1983, by the way. But I do remember the stories that my late dad used to tell me about how polarizing Mark Gastineau was and the celebrations he would do after a sack. The opposing players wants to kick his you-know-what so bad, so I find that to be pretty funny. At least back then, you were not called for unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting, like you do now. I'm so waiting to watch the 30 for 30 documentary on the New York Sack Exchange. I just found out it's narrated by Method Man. So now I've already got it recorded. So whenever I get a chance to actually go and watch it, in a future podcast, I am going to go and break it down about what I saw and give you my inputs on it as well too in my reaction. Okay, other Jets news. Can you believe that Bill Belichick, before he ended up taking the job for North Carolina, was actually calling about being interested for the New York Jets job? I find that pretty hard to believe after all the years he's been bashing us. And every time he ended up playing the Jets against the Patriots, he always wanted to do is always wanted to go run the score on us because he didn't care about the Jets. I don't think he did anyways. So, in other news, Aaron Rodgers, when speaking to the media earlier this week, basically had a quote by saying, "This may be some sort of curse we got to snap out as well." Well, he was supposed to be the savior to break that curse, but now the curse lives on. Now, according to Tankathon, as far as the draft picks go, the Jets have 9 picks. So right now they have the 7th overall pick in the first round, the 38th pick in the second round, the 96th pick in a trade with the Detroit Lions in the third round, the 105th pick in the fourth round, the 140th and the 167th pick in a trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers in the fifth round, the 184th pick and the 207th pick with a trade with the Kansas City Chiefs in the sixth round, and the 223rd pick in the seventh round. Obviously, that is all going to be subject to change once the draft rolls around with trades and everything else in between. Now, other Jets news. Former Titans GM John Robinson is linked to the GM job. Aaron Glenn is also interested in the head coaching job. And we all know Aaron Glenn, Jets fans. He was drafted by the Jets in 1994 he was actually groomed by Parcells. So he knows the things about playing in New York. So hopefully, that'd be awesome if we can get one of our own to actually go and coach the team. But we'll see what happens in the next several months. So let's get to the latest injury news. Charles tore the ACL in the game against the Miami Dolphins last week, so he is going to be on season-end IR. And so is Kiki Nwadu. He ended up breaking his hand, so he is also on season-end IR. Brandon Echols is doubtful for the shoulder injury. Just found out that DJ Reed is going to be out with a growing injury for this game, so he is not going to play. Breece Hall is questionable with a knee injury, but he is expected to play. Now, let's get to tomorrow afternoon's game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, according to ESPN Bet, the opening line number has the Jets as the favorites as -3.5 with the over/under 40.5. Now, as I'm talking to you guys right now on a Saturday evening, the night before the game, the line number of 3.5 and the over/under 40.5 has stayed the same. And the Jaguars ended up a 5-game losing streak by beating the Tennessee Titans last week 10-6. The key matchup for me I'm watching in this game is going to be the rookie wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. against Sauce Gardner, who was inactive for the game last week due to a hamstring injury. Now my prediction for this game. I have the Jets winning the game, but I have the Jaguars covering the 3.5. I'm going to say 24-23. And just like the game last week against the Miami Dolphins, I have a gut feeling that the Jets are going to find some way, creative way to lose this game with Mac Jones being the quarterback now that Trevor Lawrence is out on IR with season in IR with a shoulder injury. Now, before I get on out of here for the rest of the night, let me get to my favorite part of my podcast. And you guys know what it is. It's called the New Follower Shout Out. As I always said, I am a man of the people on this show. So each new follower that follows me on X, Instagram, and YouTube will get a shout out. Now, for the first time since I've started this podcast, I have no new followers. So it's all good. And with that said, I'm going to be signing off for the evening. So I can't thank you guys enough for supporting me on this podcast. If you're listening to this podcast for the first time, do me a favor, wherever you're listening at or whatever device that you're listening on, please go to X, Instagram, and or YouTube and go to the search box and type my username at MHJetsFan83, which is one word, all lowercase. Once this is over, this episode and all of my previous episodes are all on the digital platforms of Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music. And all of my videos, for those of you who don't follow any of the digital audio platforms, you can find all these on my YouTube page. And if you guys, and I need more followers as well too, all my social media platforms. I want this thing to go and grow. So I will be back next week to break down what happened against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Jets fans, we have 4 more games of this. The lost season is almost over. So you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will talk to you soon. And as always, JETS, 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 Jets. Take care.